Hi, welcome to Gimme Lemons. If you're new here, I'm Annie, and today I'll be making an exceptionally delicious dessert for Mother's Day, strawberry pavlova. I'll also be making an alternative version with black sesame seeds for my mom, whom I can't be with this year but can honor through this dessert. If you've never tried pavlova, you're in for a really nice surprise. It's a wonderful play on textures, the light, airy, crispy meringue contrasted by the fruity berries, the rich, creamy whipped cream, and the unexpected chewiness of the meringue interior. Let's get started and I'll show you what I mean. The ingredient list for pavlovas is pretty minimal, but the key missing ingredient here is time and patience. Making a proper meringue requires patience from start to finish, and you'll want to set aside a good amount of time to make them right. First, preheat the oven to 260 degrees Fahrenheit. Next, mark 8 circles evenly on parchment paper, leaving some room in between. With the sugar, I like to blitz it in the food processor to make sure they dissolve quickly and completely. Undissolved sugar crystals could lead to beating or weeping when you bake the meringues, and you don't want that. Next, separate the eggs. If your eggs aren't at room temperature, simply soak them in a bowl of warm water for about 10 minutes. Place the egg whites one at a time in a clean mixing bowl. You can wipe down the sides of the bowl with vinegar or lemon juice just to make sure there's no hidden fat there. And make sure to set the yolks aside for some other use like lemon curd, which, by the way, also goes great with pavlova. I'll put a link to my lemon curd recipe in the description below. Turn your mixer to low, add a pinch of salt, and when the bubbles become small and foamy, taking on soft peaks, add the lemon juice. Turn up the speed to medium and begin adding the sugar, 1 heaping spoonful at a time. I like to give the sugar about 30 to 60 seconds to dissolve completely before adding more. This is the first test of patience. You want the speed to stay between medium and medium-high, occasionally scraping down the sides of the bowl and checking the consistency by rubbing some mixture between the fingers. It should be smooth with no tangible grainy crystals. This should take in total about 10 to 15 minutes, and at the end of it you should end up with some beautiful shiny stiff peaks like this. Finally, sprinkle in the cornstarch and fold it in gently. I'm going to set half of it aside, and with the other half I'll gently fold in 1 heaping tablespoon of black sesame seeds. And this is the version in honor of my sesame seed loving mom. Now anchor the prepared parchment at the corners with some meringue, line the baking tray with the parchment with the marked sides down, and pile the mounds of the meringue onto the circles. You can make simple discs with the center hollowed out or smooth them out on the tops and sides and create a ridged surface like this. Don't worry about making them all uniform or perfect. I think they look more beautiful when they take on an organic form, with each and every one having its unique character. The first time I tried pavlova was off of a food truck in New York City called Dessert Truck. I was blown away by how light and airy it was, yet it had so many layers of texture and flavor. It's easy to see how this was the perfect dessert for a ballerina named Anna Pavlova, for whom it was originally created while she was on tour in Australia or New Zealand. No one really knows for sure, and both countries like to lay claim to this wonderful dessert, and understandably so. Now, I'm gonna sprinkle the black sesame one with some more seeds so they really pop. Now the meringues are ready for the oven. Slide the meringues into the middle of your preheated oven. Bake them for 10 minutes, then turn down the heat to 230 degrees Fahrenheit and bake them for another 1.5 hours. This is your next test of patience. In the meantime, let's make the other components. Take the frozen raspberries and warm them on medium-low heat with a squeeze of lemon and a little bit of sugar. When the berries have softened, pass them through a fine mesh sieve and set them aside to cool. Next come the strawberries. I like to separate out the small and large ones, have the small ones keeping the stems on for color, and cut the large ones into slices. We'll put those aside for later. Once the meringues are finished baking, it's crucial to leave the door closed so the meringues don't crack from the sudden temperature change. Once the oven is cool, crack the door open slightly and keep it ajar for another hour. This cooling period is definitely the ultimate test of patience. In the meantime, we can prepare the whipping cream. Mix the heavy cream on high with some powdered sugar and some vanilla, and whip it gradually until it's smooth and creamy. You can simply spoon this onto the meringue or use a piping bag for more control. Once the meringues are finally cool, Remove them from the oven and gently and carefully remove them from the parchment paper. I like to gently crack the tops open and fill it with whipped cream. I unfortunately over-whipped the cream a bit while filming, but please don't do as I did and watch that cream carefully so it stays nice and creamy. Top the cream with raspberry sauce if you're using it, then with the strawberries. Now the version for my mom, I'm sprinkling it with a little matcha powder, which I think will go really well with the black sesame seeds. Now let's have a taste. As you can hear, it's super crispy on the outside and the inside is fluffy like a marshmallow, only chewier. I'm quite happy with how this came out and I think my mom would like it too. There's a nice creamy and fruity contrast, and all in all, it's the perfect spring to summer dessert. And what more appropriate dessert for Mother's Day than one you put so much love, care, and patience into. So that's it for today. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. I especially want to thank my mom and all the mothers out there for all that you do. It's been an unusually tough year, and I see you and I commend you. Take care and see you in the next video.